8:48. Strange time, but their chi needed their appointment exactly at that time, and that's when their chi would move. So we just honored the time that came up for them. So it's another little tweak in resonance therapy is not just having an appointment, but really timing that appointment appropriately. So just another FYI piece on resonance therapy that we had not talked about yet.
Important to know.
Yes. And that's nice because it takes you out of doubt of when somebody's supposed to come back. And actually there's somewhat of a fourth way for people to come back is to call us needed.
Okay.
You know, where people I feel like they're doing well and then like, oh, I need to tune up, or oh, it's time for me to come home. So it's like they see how things feel, and then if they need more help, then they come back. And sometimes one appointment like takes care of a lifetime of garbage.
Love that.
If you stay in resonance, oftentimes that can happen. I mean, I can't make any false claims or promises, but it has happened in my practice.
Okay.
Alrighty. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Right.
Yeah. I
I
feel like I'm floating.
feel like you're floating.
Yeah. Floating, but not floating at the same time. Floating, but grounded.
Alright. You ready to switch gears a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just because we're doing this video, is there anything you want to tell the camera, tell the people, ask me questions, to help explain things for people at home?
Can you comment on how you ensure that people don't crash?
I can. Part of how people not crash, remember how I said you feel cooked? Is like you don't bake. It's a, you know, some people it might be not such a great analogy, but for you it works. Is like if you bake something too long, you do become fried. So when I get that cooked signal from somebody's being, we stop. And that's really important to listen to. It's like the field can't handle anymore. It's like, or it does, there's different analogies to talk about it, but it's like there's a way to test that it's done. And that's part of something we teach in class, is to not overload people. The other thing what ensures safety, and which we didn't talk about on this particular video, but it's worth re-mentioning, is there's always permission. Even though we didn't do a lot of verbal permission, there's always a permission piece. What is the priority, and do we have permission to proceed? And if there becomes a lack of permission, that tells me something quote unquote bad can happen, and so we stop, or we readjust, to really only stick with your priorities. Now, resonance therapy is based on resonance, so unless people, the only reason why people have any kind of crash at all, in my experience, is that they come in and they only have a limited amount of funds. So they need a lot of work really fast. And so that's what can sometimes put somebody in overload, but then they're able to rest for 3 days afterwards. So it usually works out. The deepest highest good never really puts you past something that you can't handle. Not my, unless it's a money issue and then I have to work really hard, really fast, and then they need, you know, it's heavy duty processing. And sometimes people come in and just say, give it to me hard. And sometimes the deepest highest good will let you do that, and sometimes not. So, but it's really a request from their end, not so much my end.
Okay. And if someone does come in and say, give it to me, all or nothing, pretty much, then do you honor that verbal request even though they're...
I would like to honor the verbal request, and anybody who comes in with whatever that they have, we always try to work with that. There is, again, something called your deepest and highest good, deepest highest good. If you're not following deepest highest good, we will crash people. And that's in naturopathic medicine, some people call it a healing crisis. If you're paying attention to people's energy fields, for the most part, what I've had experience with is there are not those kind of crashes. Yes, you might get pushed a little bit, but that's why people come in. Something isn't working, you need to be pushed a little. But if people really need gentle work, then their deepest highest good is going to ask for gentle work. So, do I honor people's verbal requests is actually your original question, and the answer is mostly yes, but if the energy field says, you know what? I'm trying to make an extreme example. So, let's say you say, I'd really like to be hit today. And I'd be like, I'd like to honor that request, but, it's kind of against my morals, my ethics, and I don't think your deepest highest good really would like that. We can test it, but most likely, there's some requests that, because it doesn't serve somebody's deepest highest good, I cannot fulfill. And if they wanna get hit, they can go to a bar. But maybe it can also be a metaphor just to kind of stretch this out a little bit, so you can really see how resonance can work. It'd be like, oh, well, maybe part of you feels like you deserve to be hit. Maybe we should work on that part of you that feels like you deserve to be hit.
Yeah.
Or, maybe it's like, I need to be hit, so I change. Oh, so what you really want is change. So really, again, you're always following the deepest, highest good. So sometimes people's requests can be a link to what is the true priority. And so again, you're always following true priority instead of really always somebody's verbal request. Because usually there's a request behind the request.
Okay.
So, but sometimes the request is straightforward. I want to heal. Okay, let's get you healed.
Okay. As a naturopathic doctor, you know that we are taught a bunch of modalities
Yes.
in school.
Yep.
And one of the common complaints that I usually get from interns is that it's really a hit or miss process, trying to figure out what modality to work with this patient. And sometimes it'll work and it'll take you only so far, and then you either have to switch it up, or the healing kind of comes to a stagnant level. And so you have patients that are like, oh, I'm doing well up to this point.
Right.
And they're just holding, like they become stagnant for probably a good year. And so,
Sorry.
which is true, right? That's what happens. So can you comment on how resonance therapy can help naturopaths be better naturopaths?
Right. Yes, I can comment probably for at least 20 minutes. I won't do 20 minutes right now, but because I'll try to make it succinct, is that, long story short, what resonance therapy does is, I'm going to just kind of do it physically for a second, because people didn't see the physical. You go in, and you're saying, what is your deepest, highest good? Making it up right now. Is it acupuncture? No. Is it chiropractic? No. But it could be a yes. Why would I do acupuncture on you, even though I might really know how to do acupuncture really well, and I know that it'll fix your problem? It's like the, it's that ego part that thinks, oh, I'm really good at something, I want to do that to you, because I know it'll work. No! What deepest, highest good do you need to heal this body? So of all those modalities you have, and you have a whole, you don't just have to learn the tools that I teach, you can come to resonance therapy with the tools you already have and just use them more effectively for somebody's deepest, highest good in healing. So what we do in resonance therapy is we always, in that list of many modalities that you have in class, I think we end up with at least 20 tools in that time, and sometimes more, depends on how we list them. But, we test, which one is the priority, so that is the tool, that is the resonance that breaks up the infrastructure of pain or disease. And we only use the tools that will work for you, not because I think they're right, but because I know they're right, because I've asked your field. And that your field somehow knows, and there's lots of somehows, which is some of the behind the scenes stuff, but your deepest, highest good in connection with the light will know what to do for it at that time. So I don't get people that are stuck for a year. That's like almost incomprehensible to me. Sometimes it's a journey and people change, sometimes a little at a time, but that's their journey. Sometimes, again, people are dramatic. People, we talked about last night, 20 years of pain, come in, one appointment, gone. Bye-bye. We used the right frequencies on her to shift her energy field so she was out of pain in one treatment. And this person was even on narcotics. So, bye-bye narcotics, too. Not just out of pain, but bye-bye narcotics. So, it's always, this modality is always working with your deepest, highest good and your complete tool set. And it teaches you how to modify your tool set appropriately. For example, again, long story short, it's like a chiropractic adjustment. Do your thoracics need to be adjusted face down or face up? How do you know? One way may work, one way may not. So in some ways it's like, what do they call it? Gunshot approach? Like, okay, maybe we'll do both.